Welcome to the Draft Stack. I am Kyle Scarlett. Gonna be running this a bit solo for a bit, um, but let's just get straight to it. So talking about a couple of sleepers here that may be overlooked by some, and those who are really looking probably aren't sleeping on them at all. But Malachi Moreno, the center from Kentucky, and then Silas DeMary Jr., guard from UConn. So let's break this down. Let's start with Demary first. He's a point guard out of UConn, versatile combo guard. Does have good size, feel, defensive toughness, and can possibly be a first round pick. Now, granted, this it's hard to say that about a lot of players, um, but again, March is right around the corner, and so I do wonder, uh, kind of what's going to happen with players making big plays, big shots, and putting themselves kind of on the map as we move towards draft time, which we're a ways away from. But as the season tails, second half of the NBA season kind of curtails and starts to head in that direction towards playoffs. We know that it's coming and fastly approaching. I mean, January is almost done. So let's go with Size Demary Jr. So 6'5", has good strength. I do believe that he doesn't have the quickest first step. However, that can always be fixed. Agility can be fixed. Just depends on what way he chooses to function within an offense, depending on where he's playing, and from there, he can score in a versatile amount of ways. Excels at getting to the lane, good finisher around the rim, does use the mid range, has good handles, uh, does rely more on craft and strength more than athleticism a little bit. He's not a high volume 3-point shooter, but he can definitely shoot the ball. Shooting efficiency, I think this year he's shooting 44.6% from the field. Does need to be a little bit more consistent. His catch and shoot has been pretty proficient. He's not averaging the biggest amount of points this year. However, he's averaging around 6 assists per game, and that leads me to playmaking vision. So uh, he can he can show the ability to make good passes. I do think that he'll need to continue to master pick and roll reads and manipulating different defenses. Sometimes he does turn the ball over a little bit. However, I do think with the kind of player that he is, the challenge isn't so much taking care of the ball as much as it is factoring what space to make the passes in. So mastering that will really help. Um, from there, his on-ball defense is pretty good. Does give effort, does lock in. He does use his size and strength to guard both. As I mentioned early on, he's a combo guard, and so he can guard both point guard and shooting guards. It does have the ability to lock up defenders occasionally. Um, does have high defense, high motor, definitely engaged team wise, and he's a good rebounder for his position. At 4.7 rebounds per game, and then his basketball IQ. He plays with control and poise, as I have here in my notes. Plays with confidence, plays with feel, evidenced in his playmaking, and he does need to continue to maximize his understanding of system play, and that goes beyond just where he's at UConn, but overall how to adapt to the system a bit quicker. Plays with a ton of confidence, and he's a two-way guy, definitely competitive. The numbers won't be gaudy from him, but I do think that he makes winning plays for his team. So between that, let's move on to his transition play. Does get out in the open court, does have good playmaking vision, does have good ball handling, and so I think what's interesting about him, and when I was watching the tape, he can get his shot off pretty quickly. Um, does not need to really hesitate to get to his spots. He tries to find his way, and is easy at making several shuffle passes to the big. Does make himself available to make these passes. So he's not only just a playmaker, but a connective passer as well. So I think he can play both on and off ball, as I mentioned before. Silas Demary does play without the ball. His catch and shoot proficiency, from what I could tell from the footage, does have some proficiency to it. If he could continue to do that, I think overall we're going to see him really take some notice from scouts as the season continues. He's a confident player, as I mentioned. He's very competitive. And so here's the ceiling and floor for him. High level combo guard who defends, facilitates, scores efficiently. His floor is a valuable rotation guard with size and basketball skill. And I do think his highest ceiling is likely going to be tied to how much he can do with his 3-point shooting, getting his jumper. As a junior, he does have some experience. Some teams are willing to take a flyer out on a guy who's got some basketball behind him, and not everybody loves taking a player who has quite a few years in college. But I think it's important to have mature players come into the league and be kind of plug and play ready. So, I think for me, what I liked most is he can maybe, because he's 6'5", does play with strength, plays with poise, does have prowess. I think one of the things for me with him is he could be a first round pick. Could, and I do mean could, and I caveat that with this. Not everyone's going in the first round. There's only 30 spots, as everybody knows. And if you don't know, there's only 30 spots if it's your first time watching. And so depending on how March looks for some of these players, this is called a sleeper deep dive. I think because of age and because of just the loaded class that exists, he's going to need to be exceptional to me to come out of the first round. I'm not saying he's not a first round talent. I'm just saying that the class is so loaded with talent. I would be remiss to just make some type of statement that he's going to go in the first round. I think he's a good player, but I'm challenged to think he's going to go ahead of some of the other guys that are on boards and who have been playing at a maybe a different level on the scoring perspective, which tends to be paid attention to the most, is scoring. And he does defend, he does play make. We've covered all that, but I think the challenge here is just wondering where he's going to fall. What position will he land? So talked about Silas Demary, who I like his game. I really do. And, as I have here, point guard, combo guard as his archetype, excellent size and feel, defensive toughness, and can possibly be a first round pick. Now, this moves us from guard to big, and we saved who I think is an intriguing prospect for last year. So you got Malachi Moreno, center out of Kentucky, skilled, high IQ, does play a little bit more traditional. He's got great size, good touch, passing feel, and I think depending on the way his season goes, he can either come out this year or next year. And so let's go over the physical tools. So strengths, solid size at 7'1". He's got good frame, shows good coordination and strength. He's not explosive, which would be something that, someone could look at as possibly a weakness, but I think that's just a difference of how his game is going to be played. Does have to increase strength and continue to condition because of the athleticism. I think that allows him to play in big games. He's made big shots, as I've watched some of the tape so far this season. Is starting to carve out some minutes for himself with his play. Scoring versatility, primarily a back to the basket player, is Moreno. Does have the face-up ability, can put the ball on the floor, can shoot the 12 to 15 footer, and is efficient around the rim. Not that he can't finish above the rim a little bit, but he's not an explosive guy for any means. Um, as far as like if you're going to consider him among other athletes who kind of finish at the rim high all the time, he can catch lobs. He is able to dunk the ball, but that's not where his athleticism is concentrated, and that's not where he's most reliable. That's not where he relies most. So there's that, and then his shooting efficiency. I believe it's a 58.7% from the field. Free throw shooting does need to continue to get better and builds a repeatable form. I think that's going to keep him on the floor. He does have good touch. Playmaking vision is one of the biggest things that stood out when I was watching the tape for Malachi Moreno. Major strength, actually. Very advanced for his size. You do want that. I do think that's going to continue to get some eyes on him. Does recognize double teams and finds open teammates, can make the pocket pass. He can make the touch pass. I was able to just watch and see how he processes the game. And so continuing to do that and getting more reps at creating as a big man is really going to continue to rise his stock. His on-ball defense is pretty good, has good timing as a reactive shot blocker, does use his size and length to impact shots without excessive fouling, which is a good thing. And that's what you want. Can have some trouble with lateral quickness. I think that just is going to come with time, being able to use his size to I guess you can say maybe subsidize for that. And his on-ball defense is pretty good as well. High IQ and understanding defensive concepts. And so Malachi, to me, the playmaking is what stood out to me most. The scoring is great. I think scoring is always going to be great. However, his creation for his other teammates was what stood out the most to me. He made a couple of dimes and working on getting some tape for some of the prospects that we're covering. So look out for that in the next few pods. But his ability to make passes and make reads with the ball at 7 feet tall, I think he's going to garner a lot of attention because of that ability. Teams love a big man who's mobile, can play defense, can pass the ball, makes them versatile, especially with the read and react, not only offensively but defensively, and also being able to be versatile on both sides of the ball. So his playmaking is solid. He had a couple of plays where he was able to just jump in and create some steals, cause turnovers, and I just think it's intriguing to me to watch his game. I'm intrigued to see what it looks like and as it develops. Rebounding, strong rebounder on both ends, does offensive rebound. He is averaging around 8 rebounds per game. Does need to box out. I think that's going to come with strength and time. And basketball IQ, as we mentioned, his passing prowess, his playmaking prowess at his size, makes smart passes and adapts quickly to different situations as he receives double teams or showings. And so he's able to find the open guy pretty quickly. His motor has been dependable at Kentucky, continuing to evolve against competition and to just continue to add to his game. Capable rim runner for his size, can finish at the rim. Does need to continue to add to the conditioning. I think that's really what's going to make the matter of difference for him because of the lack of explosive athleticism. He has a different kind of athleticism to me. There is what we call bounce off the floor, or at least getting up off the floor with explosion athleticism. And then there's functional athleticism, where I don't necessarily have a comp for him, but I'm thinking of bigs like a Jokic, who's not, the most explosive athlete, however, is functional as an athletic big and can do so many different things. Not saying that he's in the same realm, just a caveat, but because of the difference of athleticism in his body type and his approach to the game, I'm intrigued to see what he continues to do and continues to add. So, talked about the free throw shooting. Post game is his offensive foundation. He's comfortable with his back to the basket, does make a lot of passes out of his back to the basket. And can shoot the ball from the mid range. I'm going back to that because he hit a game winner not too long ago from mid range. Does have good hands, good catch radius, is able to grab the ball, and positional fit. Teams are going to use a 7-footer, a skilled 7-footer at that. Modern big, high IQ, can protect the rim, can rebound, facilitate an offense in the higher low post. Now, here is where I have some questions. Granted, not every big needs to shoot the ball from three. But to me, in order for him to maximize his potential, adding that step, maybe just, and maybe not three, but a little bit further out in the mid range. I think he's good at 12 to 15 feet. If he's able to expand that to out to 20, 22, right outside the 3-point line or right inside the 3-point line, his game is going to expand so much more, especially because of his passing prowess. So, Malachi Moreno is a very talented big man. I'm intrigued to see how much of his game expands as the season continues. I do think there are some things to talk about with ceiling and floor. Has good mindset, has beautiful intangibles, coachable, and continues to approach development with patience, and has a good winning background. And so here's the floor. Here's the ceiling and floor for Malachi Moreno. Starting, I think at some point, because of his skill set, he could be a starting NBA center because of the passing for his position, being able to anchor a defense with his timely positional defense within a team, and his ability to orchestrate an offense from the post as he continues to grow that prowess and add to his ability to spread the ball around and make it difficult for him to guard, because if he has such skill, touch around the rim, back to the basket, and then also can make passes on a dime, find good reads, and really just function within an offense where he doesn't always have to have the ball, but is able to be a connective passer as well, aside from just playmaking as a general whole. He's going to be very, very talented for whatever team he ends up on between now, either this particular draft, if he decides to declare, which I'm not too sure of. I'm not making any guarantees. But Malachi Moreno, either this draft or the following draft to come, is going to be exceptionally talented in the next. So now that was, to me, strengths. His ceiling is probable starting NBA center with elite passing. Now the floor is back a big man whose skill and size keep him in the league. If the 3-point shooting does not develop. Now, I'm going to say this gently. I'm not saying that Malachi Moreno can't carve out a beautiful career without shooting the three ball. I'm praying that he continues to stay healthy and continues to add to his game and continues to develop. However, I'm thinking his ceiling is so much higher if he's able to add shooting from long range. I'm not asking him to take any kind of crazy amount of threes per game, but if he was able to take 5 threes per game and go 3 for 5, that's still a good opportunity for him to open space as a center for whatever team he ends up on, especially with his current team. Not that he's going to work on that this season, but if he's able to expand his range further and further in the mid-range and further out to the 3-point line, I do think that he carves out a really, really significant career wherever he goes. So draft projection to me is a rising prospect with first-round potential because of his unique combination of size, skill, and IQ. And I do think that it's more than likely that he ends up being a 2-year college player because of, he's going to maybe need more time to develop. But finish the season strong, and maybe he could solidify, a good position and selection here in this upcoming draft, or he solidifies himself as a player who's going to continue to build on the season he had for the upcoming draft in 2027. So we talked about Moreno, and Malachi Moreno and Silas DeMary. And so I'll, for those who just joined, I'll hop to draft projection for Silas DeMary here. Possible first round pick again, defensive prowess, has improved playmaking. If he's able to kind of take UConn on a deep March run, I think that's going to open some eyes on his selection. Is a junior, has one more year if he decides to return. I doubt it, but he does a lot of good things for them. He does play winning basketball, and he plays for a coach that really wants his guard to kind of play a style of basketball that contributes to winning overall. So to me, these two guys are being maybe possibly slept on a little bit. I'm going to kind of find other guys as I've continued to do research on what guys are probably being overlooked because there's so much talent in this upcoming draft. There's so much talent in college basketball right now. A lot of guys who are contributing for their teams and adding to winning. So again, if you just join and you want to watch this back, it will be available to watch back. But Malachi Moreno, 7-foot center, skilled, high IQ, and mostly traditional with his back to the basket, does have good touch, good passing for his age and size. And then Silas DeMary, the combo guard, in my opinion, a versatile combo guard with a good size, feel, and defensive toughness. So there's some really cool things about these two players. Take your time and find out about them. That's Malachi Moreno and Silas DeMary Jr. Both guys, I think, are contributing to their teams winning games. Both unique in different ways. Both have good playmaking prowess. It's hard to say whether these guys are going to go in the first round, right? This year. And maybe that is cause for return, especially for Moreno, who has 3 years still. And depending on how he finishes the season with Kentucky. And then Silas DeMary, who has 1 more year of eligibility as far as going back to college. I don't think so. I think as a more mature guard, a team's going to use him, could select him as a player who can plug and play and just really take care of the ball for them. Second unit, possibly starting guard as he continues to add more experience to his game, pro level wise. So both guys are very, very talented. The numbers per se are not gaudy, but their versatility is why we're talking about them. And that's why it's called a Sleepers Deep Dive. Anyway, for those of you guys who hung out and watched this, I appreciate it. We at Draft Stack appreciate it. Going to have some more content coming out for you soon. Going to try to add some more tape, more footage to our stream, and be able to add some visuals for you to be able to see what we're talking about, especially as the season heads down towards the end and towards March. So excited to kind of add some more elements for you to be able to take in and digest what the player looks like in the flow of an offense, flow of a defense, and how they're able to contribute to their respective teams. Anyway, I'm Kyle. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you here at Draft Stack. Continue to look out for content. Peace.